Stephanie Birch here is our resident yoga teacher, and she is someone who has just been really important to Simply Be since the beginning. So I know that Stephanie, let's see here if we can speaker view once Stephanie starts talking. Okay. So Stephanie, the reason why we wanted to have you and Stephanie here together is that we believe in movement, nutrition, mental health, and a combination of that really giving people their best life. One of the things that we're up against right now in our current situation with COVID-19 is it's difficult to move. It's difficult to get out and get into old routines that we used to exercise in. It's really hard to create new routines because we get so bored at home. Is there a way to start with just beginning stretches in the home and just make it a little bit more inviting and more realistic to get moving through stretches in the home? Could you walk us through some of those?
Sure, absolutely. So there's some basic things you can do, especially when you get up in the morning, starting with just breathing. And then you can work into moving into releasing the neck. So just gently, just taking that right ear to the right shoulder and then moving to the opposite side. So starting at the crown of the head and working your way down the body. I really like, especially this time, what we're holding on to in our body is doing some twisting. You can do them seated if you're working from home, especially and you're seated for a long period of time. But you can just gently, even sitting in your chair here, you can just reach your hands towards the sky and then just reaching just for the arm of the chair and just rotating yourself, perhaps just taking your gaze towards the back of the room and sitting with a tall spine and just taking about 3 long, deep breaths on each side is a really nice release. After you move through twisting, you can get up, just reaching your hands towards the sky and then folding yourself forward, just taking that hinge from the hips. And if you do that several times, just taking the energy up to the top of the body and exhaling, folding yourself forward. I did share some stretches that you can send out to the people at home, Audrey, which you give them a more specific way to walk through that would work with seated stretches, supine stretches, standing stretches. And they can do that easily for 10, 15 minutes, start of the day, end of the day, and just bring them back to this present moment, connecting with the breath.
I've noticed that when I'm stretching and getting into my body after a day of stress and anxiety with what's going on in the world, that as soon as I start moving, I get more anxious. I feel more emotions and I'm thinking, hey, isn't this supposed to help me? Aren't I supposed to feel more relaxed when I'm moving? But I feel kind of panicked sometimes. And there was a meme I saw on social media today that said, I wake up every morning with tightness in my chest, and I don't know if it's COVID-19 or a panic attack. And so when you are starting to move and you're feeling anxious, how do you breathe through that?
So the most simplest breathing technique that keep you grounded and connected and out of your thoughts is by using a count. Usually the best one recommended for anxiety is box breathing. And you want to think about, even if you're a visual person, you can think about drawing a box where each breath is going to be 4 sides. So you would inhale 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you would exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's where you would start. And then if you're running, right, you're not going to do a pause, but if you're just in a movement where you have time to pause, you want to work on pausing between the inhale breath and the exhale breath. This type of breathing, this box breathing, has been something the Navy SEALs use because it's such a great way to reduce anxiety, especially if you're not sure what you're going into. And I believe with all the uncertainty that we're facing with COVID-19, that we need to find a way to stay present and connected, whether we're moving or sitting or working, wherever we are, that our thoughts tend to take over. So if you'd like, I can walk you through what it feels like with the pause. Perhaps if everyone wants to take a moment here and just try that, it might give you an idea of what it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you walk us through a box breathing?
Sure. So just find a place that you're comfortable. You can just stay seated at your desk and then find a place to ground your hands. So anytime we ground our hands to a surface, it can be hands to heart or just hands on the thighs. Okay? And then either just eyes can be closed or just finding a soft gaze with something to keep your focus on. You're going to take a nice deep inhale, so breathe in Nice deep exhale, breathe out. On your next inhale breath, you're going to inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can return just to deep inhales and exhales. And observing the breath. So one of the big questions here is thinking about the holds, right? If you got anxious while you were holding the breath. And if you did, right, the idea is that you're holding your breath, you sort of move and hold on and just embrace that fear, that anxiety of the panic of what happens when you're holding the breath. And the idea is after you get used to holding the breath, that you can start to feel more relaxed. Right? If you are a visual person while you're breathing through it, if you found yourself distracted, you can visualize the box, right? So that you're inhaling at the side, holding, exhaling, and then taking yourself back down. How'd you feel?
Good. I like how it simulated anxiety, and the holding the breath was very memorable of like times I've felt panicked. And then experientially working through that, I thought was really important, not just to talk about, but to actually experience. And it's proven that the more that we can actually experience a trigger and then relax from the trigger in a therapeutic way, the more likely we are to actually cope with it when it does arise naturally. Probably similar to how the Navy SEALs experience it, where they're coping ahead a lot. So when it does come time to actually have natural panic, that they have these memories and these coping mechanisms created in their brains already that they could rely on. So I really liked it.